what if you don't know the interpretation? You don't, in other words, you don't know why you feel what you feel. And the short answer, the quick answer is you just do your best. The only person who really knows deep down inside the reasons why you're feeling what you're feeling is God. And unless you're God, if you are, hi, I like you. But unless you're God, you don't know. You just try your best. Take your best guess. The more experience you get at this, the better you will be at it. Obviously, as with most things, you can get a professional opinion. Psychologists, the clinical psychologists do this for a living. You can find a coach like myself who does this in a particular domain for a living, and we can help you out with that. But a lot of it is, you're the best judge, because you're the one who can unearth all of the history of your life that could have led to that thought. And you know all of your hang-ups and so forth. You just have to be honest with yourself. And a lot of the times, the reason why a guy is dumbfounded when it comes to finding the interpretation is because he's not being honest with himself. He's still in denial, or he's avoiding confronting a bad emotion. Maybe there's a bad history there. And he'll never get over it unless he confronts it. So you can get professional help, or you can just do your best and try to work your way through it. But this product assumes a minimum level of intellect. I'm sorry, but I just assume that the people who follow me have a minimum level of intellect. So I just don't allow, you just should never accept giving up. I'm assuming that in school, you used to hit those math problems that are so fucking hard. Coming from an Asian background, being in Asia, I'm sure you've all done a lot of math. You hit that math problem like, I can't do this, I can't do this. Tell me, please, you did not just give up. You went to the answer book. You went to your teacher, you said, I need extra help. You went to your teacher, said, give me a math tutor. You said to your mom, dad, I need a math tutor. Or maybe they tell you, you need a math tutor. So you get a math tutor, then you work through it, you work through it, you work through it until you get good at it. Maybe when you got to university level calculus, you gave up. Right, like me. But if I wanted to put my mind to it, I could figure that out. And that's just a part of getting good at anything. Put your mind to it and figure it out. But what's good about this material, your emotions, is the subject of the inquiry. Your emotions. Who's the expert on your emotions? You. There's no one else who knows more about your emotions than you do. So you're the best source for that. The professionals just work with what you give them. And it's up to them. It's really up to you how much you give them. And that's a major part of the therapy that the clinical psychologists do with you, is to unearth all of the possible reasons. And they help you guide through the interpretations. But in most cases, we're not dealing with trauma. I don't think most of the guys I've seen aren't severe cases where they've been traumatized, maybe like they were beaten as children or something. I don't think that hasn't been the case. But if that is your problem, I do suggest you treat it seriously and you work more, you spend more time working through it. Okay, we're moving on to the next section. And here we're going to be talking about progress. And there's this paradoxical secret power that the rig has. The paradoxical secret power. That as you're making progress toward the ideal over time, you're still content with yourself and your progress. Isn't it interesting that you can't actually be content with where you are unless you know where you are? In other words, you need to know what the possibilities are. You need to know that it's possible for you to become a billionaire. Right? And you need to be you need to decide beforehand how far what your goal is, how far you want to take it. And then set your pace. And then make sure you're on your pace. And sometimes the goals that you set are unrealistic. Or maybe they're too small, the goals. But whatever it is, you set the goals. And you determine the pace. And you have to be happy with the progress. The key is contentment. But that doesn't mean that it's just a passive contentment, where you're okay with the way things are, you're not going to improve. You always must keep improving. That's just part of life. It's a part of success. It's part of getting what you want in life. But that doesn't mean that you're not happy until you get that thing. All the psychology studies have shown that the real happiness lies not in attaining the goal or the prize. It lies in the getting of it, the progress towards it. That most of the time when it's a worthy goal, by the time you get to it, you don't even want it that bad anymore. Now you're looking at the next thing, beyond it. Or maybe you're just enjoying what came before it, what led up to it, and you're soaking up that. So the paradoxical secret power of the rake is that while you continue to improve yourself, you're still content with where you are in your progress. But this assumes that you have knowledge of how you should be, right? Because that's about progress, right? You need to know where you're supposed to be progressing towards. So you need to know how you should be feeling to calibrate how you are currently feeling. So remember the beginner's example, right? Oh my God, I'm so nervous. You say, oh, I'm so nervous, but I know I'm not supposed to be nervous. I'm supposed to be like the cool, calm, and collected guy who's really confident, giving you a good time, but oh my God, you're just so beautiful, I can't think. And if that's the honest feeling, let that out. The desire is what drives her desire. Your desire for her is what drives her desire for you. So notice the calibration there. It's not just, I'm really nervous, oh, woe is me. Feel sorry for me, please. That's not how it works. It's, I am nervous, but I know I should be confident. But I'm not, damn it. Right. So we have to know what you should be like. And let's talk about that. I've been referring it to the ideal, the capital I ideal. Now I'm going to be going to that in more detail so you know what you should be like. So you can always calibrate against that. The ideal man. The ideal man is describing what the majority of women throughout human history have considered to be attractive, what they find attractive, emotionally attractive. And this is based on, because I said throughout human history, this is based on evolutionary science and psychology. Right? Because of that, it's not culture specific. I did my PhD in Asian cultures. I'm a student of cultures around the world and just the study of culture and the theory of culture. And it's an important aspect, but when we're dealing with this attraction, it's like fiddling with that remaining 3% when you haven't figured out the other 97%. It's that insignificant, right? Cultural variations. If you're really looking at what's important comes down to us from millions and millions of years of development that transcend any modern culture that we're given now, that we find now. A lot of the research in evolutionary psychology and evolutionary science and how it pertains to mating is summarized in a really great book by David Buss. There's a second edition that's updated. The Evolution of Desire. David Buss is a very well-known senior psychologist. And in chapter 2, I believe, he talks about what women want. So that's in fact the name of the chapter, What Women Want. And he summarizes a mountain of studies on this, what women want. And there have been more and more studies on this since then, and they're pretty much saying the same thing, just coming at it from different angles. The general consensus is that women want wealth and status. Oh, surprise. Okay, you already knew that. They want wealth and status. They want ambition and industriousness too, because while wealth and status bring power and freedom and security, you need to have ambition and industriousness, hardworking, to ensure that you hold on to that wealth and status, that you don't get lazy and lose it. Right? So that makes sense, right? In addition, there's the fourth, physical prowess, like size, strength, and health, vitality. Right? And this is another form of power. And lastly, intelligence. Because intelligence throughout human history has been a reliable predictor of economic progress, of how much money you're going to amass. Right? So women are looking out for these things unconsciously. They unconsciously choose men with wealth, status, ambition, hardworking, physical prowess, and intelligence. That's just the way it is. So you're thinking, oh shit, it's over. How am I supposed to compete in a country like Singapore, where 14% of people or households are millionaires? Is it households or individuals? Anyway, it's just it's the highest per capita concentration of millionaires. How can I compete on wealth and status? Or even if you are a millionaire, there are 14%, there are that many more millionaires just like you. Wealth and status, ambition, well, I suppose I can work really hard. I can always out-sweat somebody else. But size and strength and health, man, there's always going to be somebody else out there who's better than me at that. And intelligence, well, you know, I'm all right. but there are always kids who are smarter. What am I going to do? Understand this. The reason why she likes all of those things, the reason why a woman wants wealth, a woman wants power, a woman wants status, ambition, intelligence, physical power, the reason why she wants all of those things is because they ensure for her and her offspring what? Yeah, survival and replication. Okay, but beyond that, so this is something new maybe for those who are in evolutionary psychology. It's not just about the genes, because pure survival isn't so nice. Right? Survival is the basic necessity. What else? What is she really getting at? She's not, here's a way to survive. I'll hook you up to an IV and put you in a hospital bed. Hey, you're surviving. In fact, I'll help you replicate too. We'll impregnate you. Is that a good life? Is that what she wants? She's like, yeah, I'll take that. Would you rather have 100 years of that life in a hospital bed hooked up to an IV so you're always alive and you get impregnated so you pass on your genes? Or would you rather have 20 years lived to the fullest? Maybe 30 years, 40 years. Once we get up to 50, I think you're seeing the appeal of that. What is it that's really at stake in life? Good feelings. We're looking for happiness. We want to live a life full of passion. Well, not everybody, but everybody wants happiness, right? They want to feel. And it's really about good feelings. For her, she wants to make sure that she has enough money so that she can buy things, so that she can be happy. You know? When a woman sees a rich man, they don't think, oh, hot, sexy. They think, yay, shopping. They start thinking about all the bags they can buy. That brings good feelings. Buying a bag, as temporary as that is, brings a shot of good feelings. Trips overseas, lavish vacations or something, bring good feelings. Right? A nice dinner around the table with friends brings good feelings. And that's what really is driving it. So if you know that deep down, at the very bottom of it all, what's supporting all of those traits is that they hold the promise, through millions of years, they hold the promise of giving good feelings, then why don't you just give the good feelings? And that's the secret of the rake. There are rakes throughout history who have been poor. There are rakes who have no title, no status. But they're amazing seducers. Right? Because what they give are good feelings. And then maybe a woman won't marry him because he can't support her or her family or her children. Or maybe she'll support him. But she'll want to. She would wish that she could be with him because he's giving her all these good feelings. Because that's what really life is about. Happiness, fulfillment, passion, excitement. What are all of those things? Feelings. Good feelings. So if the ultimate value is good feelings, and attraction, love, desire, arousal, affection, guess what? They're all feelings too. And 99% of people, they don't know how to control their feelings. Why do you think most people are not achieving the success that they want? Now in this case, this is not a self-help seminar. I'm not going to teach you how to make $1 billion because I haven't made that. I don't know. But in this case, with dating, with love and attraction and arousal, the key is to be the man who gives her the good feelings. Be the man who gives her the good feelings. And by doing that, you undercut the bigger, better deal. Don't compete. But the bigger, better deal, in my lingo, is the guys who are better than you on the conventional standards. Wealth, status, looks. Don't compete there. You want to make sure that you have the most of that because, yeah, those are conducive to giving you good feelings, right? Although, people say money doesn't buy happiness. Well, up to a certain level, it does. I think the latest research shows that if you have $60,000 a year, you're that much more happier than everyone else. I think it's beyond that number. It really tails off. But whatever that number is, up to a certain point, it does. I mean, if you don't have enough money to buy the next meal, you're not going to be so happy. Right? So at the minimum level, you need some money to be happy. Having status really helps in being happy. And it's also, the research also shows the more good looking you are, the more symmetrical your face and the more healthy your features, the happier you are, right? If your life is full of health, you'll be happier. Those things help. Get those. But they're not necessary. You can get good feelings without them. They help, but they're not necessary. And here is the big secret for the rake. The shortcut to good feelings is through activating her emotions by feeling the emotions intensely in yourself. That's the emotional activation system. The shortcut to giving good feelings. So, as with all things that I do, I try to keep sight of the goal. So the goal here is the ideal man. And you're going to need that goal when you're at the beginning stages to calibrate your inappropriate feelings. Right? You're going to feel weak. You're going to feel vulnerable. You're going to feel insecure. There's going to be all these weaknesses. You're going to feel needy. Right? That's just where you are. It's not going to help so much to pretend like you're not, because it's going to come through your mirror neuron. She's going to pick it up in her amygdala, and you're screwed. No verbal game can cover it. And you can't micromanage all of that. Your facial mannerisms, your twitching and everything. It's too hard. You can do it for maybe 5 minutes, and then you're going to fry your brain. So instead, you need to calibrate with the character of the ideal man. All right, here we go. The ideal man. There are 5 traits. The ideal man, through his character, gives her good feelings. So if you understand his character, it will help you understand how he would feel in any situation. So just like that old slogan from the Christians, what would Jesus do? I guess it's do, not feel. WWJD, WWJF. This would be WWIMF. IMF, weird. Okay, there are 5 traits. The first is confidence. I'm going to break off confidence into 2. So confidence is 1 and 2. There are 2 kinds of confidence. But first I'm going to talk about confidence as a global concept. Confidence. Why is confidence attractive? Because if you're confident, it shows her that you can get the job done. Right? You're dependable, you're stable. She can depend on you. It shows that you can handle bad situations in life. It shows you can provide for her and her family. Right? So let's say you're driving down this road and it's rainy or snowy and it's really scary for most people to drive, and you're really confident, no big deal, I got this. Right? What does she infer from that? She infers that you must be experienced. You must have experience driving like this. She also infers competence. You must know what you're doing. Because naturally that comes through. Right? Through competence and experience, you naturally get confidence. But let's say you get a situation where, let's say you lose your job. And you have maybe 3 months of savings for your household. She's freaking out. But you're confident. You're like, don't worry, it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. What does that show her? She can freak out, right? Because she's not the masculine figure. Right? But the masculine figure cannot freak out. Because if you freak out, it shows that you're not dependable. That you cannot handle bad situations in life. That you can't actually be dependent on for her and her family. Okay, so confidence shows her you can get the job done. You're not going to freak out. You know this is going to be okay. You know it's going to work out in the end because you trust yourself and your own abilities. You're going to work through this. There are 2 ways that confidence is manifested. One is easygoing confidence. Easygoing confidence. So an easygoing man is not uptight or anxious. Okay, not uptight or anxious. So if she's 15 minutes late, he doesn't go, "Do you respect my time?" Right? I've actually seen this in Asia, because I'm late all the time. "Do you respect my time?" And I'm like, sorry, I'm not a girl. But I have had guys come up to me and say, "Look, she keeps flaking on me." "Really? Like 5 times?" "Yeah, she flakes. She's 15 minutes late every time." You call that flaking? You don't have much experience with hot girls, do you? Don't be uptight. Don't be anxious. If things don't work according to plan, you planned your date. "I've got 3 bounces back home." She doesn't like the second bounce. "Oh my God, I don't know what to do." Chill out, man. Don't be anxious. Don't be nervous. Don't freak out just because things don't work out. Trust yourself. Trust that you can take care of it. They don't take themselves too seriously either. When people poke fun at them, they laugh at themselves. They readily laugh at themselves. And they're the first to chuckle at their own shortcomings. They are, however, able to discern and know when to be serious about important topics, serious topics, grave topics. And they can appreciate the consequences of their actions and decisions. They're not total jackasses. But they still see the humor in everyday situations, especially when those situations involve themselves. They don't take anything too seriously unless it's very, very important. And they realize that in most things in life, it's going to work out. And worrying and freaking out, being anxious won't help it. That's an easygoing confidence. That's an important default type of confidence. She wants to know that if you get fired from your job, you're not going to freak out all of a sudden. You're going to get it done. She wants to know that if an intruder comes into the house, you're not going to get scared and hide in the bed. You're going to believe in yourself. You're going to go down there and, well, maybe you won't go down there, but you're going to fix it. You're going to take care of the situation. And that leads to another kind of confidence, assertive confidence. The ideal man is not a pushover. He does not tolerate disrespect from others. Okay. He speaks up for himself, and he speaks up for those under his leadership. He's going to be friendly and cordial, so don't think that assertive means you're always like really mean to people or you're speaking really loudly or over people. But the ideal man will be a leader. He will be dominant and commanding, especially when it's important. There's an important issue. An assertive confidence is a confidence that doesn't hide behind false modesty. I know that's an important, it's a one major aspect of Confucian culture, having a false modesty. He has true modesty. He's not just saying, no, I'm not very good at that, because his parents taught him to do that. Right? He doesn't hide behind a false modesty. Instead, he believes that others, including his superiors, his seniors, want to hear his ideas. So he's going to speak up. This is something I had to learn the hard way because all through my primary school, secondary school, primary and middle mainly, I had trouble speaking up in class, even when I knew the answer. In fact, it was most of the time I knew the answer. So she'd ask a question, teacher, like I already knew the answer, even sometimes before she finished asking the question. And I'm just like waiting for all the kids to, say their answers. And sometimes I'd have impatience because there was some racism, where I grew up, and in Southern America. And so they never put me in the highest class because they didn't think I could speak English. But hey, I moved there when I was 5, so give me a break. So by the time I was 7, my English was really good. But they wouldn't put me in the advanced class because I'm Chinese. So I'm sitting there in my desk because they're doing the advanced class, and she's asking this question, and the 6 advanced kids don't know the answer. So I'm sitting there, I haven't even read their book, but I'm listening because I'm right next to their table. I just blurt out answers. And she realizes that my answers are actually the correct ones. So she takes my parents over and she's like, your son's really advanced. Yeah, thanks for noticing. But because I just got into the habit of, they don't deserve it. So I just stopped answering. I just never raised my hand. And then this went all the way through grad school. And in grad school I was lucky because I was studying Asian cultures. So the teachers were used to having Asian students who don't speak up. So they'd ask me questions. But most of the time I'd have to force, even before I knew the answer and it's coming, and my heart's pounding. And I just have to force myself to speak up. And it was just a point that I had to force myself to speak up. I had to create this trait in myself that I will speak up. So I had to learn assertive confidence. Assertively confident people also persist in the pursuit of their goals. They don't give up easily. And one example of this is they freely approach women they want to meet. If he's assertively confident, he sees that woman, I'm going to go assert myself with her, which means I'm just going to go meet her. Right? That's the ideal man. The third trait is leadership. He's a leader. So the ideal man is not a passive follower. He's trained himself to weigh the relevant factors and then make a snap decision and deal with the consequences. He gives himself a time limit. Here's a day-to-day way that this comes out. When the menu comes, he doesn't dither over it. Would I rather have this or that? Oh, I don't know. I think I might have this. Oh, I don't know. I might have that. And the waitress comes like, give me a minute. I don't know. Should I have that, have that, have that, have that, have that? That's not a leader. A leader makes up a decision. Makes a decision and acts on it. And then deals with the consequences. That's how you learn. A great example of this actually just came to mind. I don't know how many of you are Trekkies, because there are a lot of geeks that hang out with me. I'm a geek, and I love Star Trek: The Next Generation. Jean-Luc Picard actually is one of my heroes, archetypes. In real life, a guy who's very close to this is Pierre Trudeau, ex-Prime Minister of Canada. They both had bald heads. There was this episode in which he and the doctor forget her name, were stranded on this planet. And they were cut off from radio communication with the ship. So they did, however, have this alien race gave them some anklets or something, some kind of handcuffs that would give them telepathy. So he could read everything that was in the doctor's mind. She could read everything in his mind. So they found themselves in this situation on this planet, and they just started walking, and there's this like a jungle kind of setting, and there's a fork in the road, and Beverly Crusher, right, the doctor says, hey, which way should we go? And he says, this way, let's go. And they take a few steps, and she goes, wait a second, you have no idea where you're going, do you? And he says, no, come on, let's go. And she says, wait, is this how you make decisions on the ship? And he's like, yeah, most of the time. Let's go. You weigh the relevant factors, you weigh them quickly. If it looks like it's equally good, pick one. Get in the habit of making decisions. Leaders do not have to have formal recognition, rank, status, or position, but they do not rely on external recognition. They just inspire and lead others naturally. And lest you think that they're just a bunch of douches who just ramrod their own ideas over others, they do take into account the opinions and ideas of other people. But ultimately, they draw their own conclusions, and they don't waste time doing so. Right? So they're internally referenced. They draw their own conclusions, they make their own decisions, and they do them quickly. The fourth is that they're sexual. They're not immature schoolboys. They're also not judgmental or closed-minded about sex. They have no sexual hang-ups, and they're comfortable with their views on sex and sexuality. I know some of you know that line. And they're secure in their own self-image and with their bodies. And they're at ease in talking with women about sexual subjects. It's no big deal. Obviously, it would be best if they were also skilled at sex and sexual techniques and knowledgeable about sex. And that's something, if you lack that knowledge or skill, you should go and learn it and get better at it. But it's not necessary, because it's the result that comes out of that, which is that they're at ease with talking about it. And most of all, actually, beyond the knowledge of it purely, is that they're open to learning. They're open to learning new things. They're open to learning more. The fifth is that they're adventurous. They're not boring, they're not predictable, and they're not afraid. There's no fear of danger. They welcome calculated risk. That's part of the bad boy appeal. Mix that in there with whatever you are. So they are unpredictable, and they have a love of spontaneous fun. They live life to the hilt. They push experiences to the edge. Their lives are full of passion. They feel intensely. Okay, so that's a summary. You got the 5 traits. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be able to catalog every single situation that you will face and how you ought to feel in every single situation. That's for another product. But that gives you a guide. You have an idea of what he's like. So you ask yourself, what would the ideal man do? What should I be thinking here? And over time, you're going to be improving. You're going to be moving more and more towards that ideal. But the secret is, be content with your progress. If you're progressing, make sure you're working at it. But do your best. But just do your best. Don't compare yourself with others. Do your best. Forget the rest. As P90X Tony Horton likes to say. All right. Be content with the progress you're making in life. If you aren't content with the progress you're making in life towards this ideal, then it's very simple. This is the secret to success in everything in life. Set goals. Make plans to meet those goals. And then take action. Very simple. And then become your ideal self over time. No one's ever going to get there 100%. That's why it's the capital I ideal. Right? I'm not putting myself up there as, hey, I got all 5 of those traits, I'm perfect. I'm continually working on it myself. Every day I'm working on it. You'll find that whenever there's an ideal, there's also, the ideal of the static role model. There's also the ideal of progress. You'll find this in Buddhism, in Confucianism, in Taoism, in Christianity. In Neo-Confucianism, my favorite subject. Always be moving forward. Right? It is a struggle, but it's an easy struggle. And there's a contentment to it. Right? Okay, to recap progress. Even though you're making progress, you need to be content with where you are. Don't feel like you're not good enough yet. Just do your best. That's all anybody can ask of you. It is useless to feel sorry for yourself just because of the cards you were dealt. Get on with it. And be proud of the progress. Right? That's really the only thing you can be proud of in life anyway. You can't be proud of the things that you were given through your genetics or the things that you were given through your parents, your upbringing, or the money that was put into your trust fund. Be proud of your progress and the work that you've done. You're progressing towards the ideal man. And so I went over the characteristics of the ideal man. Easygoing confidence. Easygoing confidence, assertive confidence. He's a leader. He's sexual. He's an adventurous person. And having all those traits allows him to give her good feelings. And because good feelings are the ultimate value. Okay, so you can undercut all the materialism and the looks and so forth. Give her the good feelings.